everyone, welcome back to another special episode of Shed Chat, and I'm here in the office and unfortunately Melanie is stuck in traffic, so she will hopefully be joining us later. She is on her way, but until then I'm going to have to hold the fort on my own. Resplendent...
I'll come and help.
Oh.
Hello. I have nothing to do with the show, but I do have some questions.
Yes, you do. Okay, so Zoe is here. Fortunately.
Fortunately. Yes, yeah. Pick your words carefully, my dear. So.
I should have given you one of the special T-shirts, which everybody's been very pleased with. The Rail Riders logo resplendent on there, of course, minus the double arrow, because that needs to be licensed separately, and we weren't going to pay for that license.
No, of course not.
But there we go. Anywho, just checking on the security cameras. Melanie's not here yet.
She is not.
But so, you have some questions.
I do.
You have opinions as well, which is very unusual for somebody on the internet.
Yes, I do have opinions. So, I've watched the first 2 episodes, same as you have, and I thought that the judges in the second episode came across as far more personable than in the first. Would you say that's true, or do you have a different opinion?
Yes, having an opinion on the internet. Very unusual. Actually, I think that everybody was finding their feet in episode 1, judges included, and probably as well the film crew. I've had some comments from one of the team members who was in episode 1 saying, how did you get to film behind the scenes when we kept getting told not allowed to film when they're filming? I think they mellowed out a bit is the answer on that.
Either that or you just didn't get caught.
Well, yeah, I think I take the view of just act like you're supposed to do something, and people tend to question you less. Never ask permission, because no is usually the answer, but if you don't ask permission, usually they'll let things slide. But we've got in the chat room there, hello to Ned's Trains. Thank you very much. Yes, congratulations on getting to the semi-final. Thank you very much. It's been a big secret that I've been desperately keeping Les under lock and key from giving away.
Yes, well done on getting a semi.
Who? What? New Mills Model Railway, good evening. Wonderful you got through. Thank you very much. Matthew Radnell, congrats to getting through. Thank you very much. T-Bone, congrats to you. And Mr. Martin, yes, that's Mr. Simon A.C. Martin, who bundles of enthusiasm, it has to be said. The thing I think that Simon brought to the team more than anything else was this enthusiasm to get stuck in, and also not afraid to take on new tasks that he'd never tried before, and actually showing that you shouldn't be afraid of trying something new, because Simon did in so many areas and actually came out on top. So if he can do it, you can all do it. New Durham Junction Model Railway, hi to you. I like transport, hello to you, and well, thank you New Durham Junction Model Railway for the congratulations. Yeah, it was really hard, and it's obviously edited in a certain way, but when you were there, it could have been anybody's. We felt all the way through that it was neck and neck with the other 2 teams. In fact, when we arrived, 7 Pillars of Wisdom, which I think was the Scarborough Flyers.
Yeah.
And we actually thought, oh my God, they really have come very well organised. They turned up and they kind of had the spiral already down, a lot of the electrics already down. I think they pushed the rules to the extreme on that. We were looking at it and thinking, oh, that's a bit much. I thought we weren't supposed to stick down scenery. I understand why they had to do that. But certainly they looked to be some serious competition when we rocked up. We've got I Like Transport. Just watched the episode on Demand 5. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Les Cliff, hi to you. Yeah, Les will be swinging by. We're unlocking him from the dungeon because we're going to be going down to Bolton Model Railway Club at Bolton Trinity Street Station, which is one of the reasons that the live stream is on early. That's simply so that we can get down there and meet and greet, say hello to everybody. And Melanie's coming with us. So if you can get to Bolton Model Railway Club, in fact, speak of the devil, your ears must have been burning, because Bolton Model Railway Club has just appeared in the chat room. Good evening, Jenny. Looking forward to tonight. Well, thank you very much. So are we. And it'll be half of Team Rail Riders will be there at the club. So anybody else who's about, come on down and you can meet and greet, but also more importantly, get to know those at Bolton Model Railway Club. And hopefully swell the membership and bring in lots of new blood to build some fabulous layouts.
Okay. I have a second question for you.
Okay, yeah.
And it's something that is about the way that the show has been edited together. Because I thought that Team Phoenix did an amazing job coming back from the problems that they had in the first day to the second day, where they practically built their entire railway in one day.
Which was what the Agatha Christie?
Yeah. Was it like that on the actual construction, or is that the way that they've carefully and rather cleverly edited the show together to make it really tense for that team?
See, I remember, because you kind of get in the zone. You very much concentrate on your own build. You are aware of the other teams there, and occasionally you glance across and go, "Oh no, we need to pull something out of the bag," or It did feel like sometimes you'd look around and you think, hey, we've pulled it out of the bag here. We've really got far ahead. And then within a couple of hours, you'd look around and these other layouts really had sprouted stuff. And you're thinking, oh my God, actually, they're caught up. So it very much felt like a neck and neck race all the way through. I think the Team Phoenix with the Agatha Christie layout, they had... a number of their pre-builds were the animations. So, excuse me, a lot of what you saw, the big set pieces were pre-builds, and they obviously didn't go on until later in day 2. So it would give that illusion. But certainly, I think there has been some careful editing going on there. But let's just have a look at some of the comments.
Before you do that, I have one third question. Would you like a cup of tea? I keep the easy ones for last.
I'll have a cup of coffee, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
just
enjoy.
A nice cup of coffee. But yeah, we've got Model Train Fan 101. Congrats on winning, Jenny. Well, it's not over yet. That's just getting us through to the semis. So look out for us. I think it's 4 weeks' time. You're going to see us in the semi-final. There will be 3 teams there. Corby Steelmen have already gone through as winners of round 1, so they will be in our semi-final as well. And I think it's Heat 5. The winner of Heat 5 also goes through to that semi-final, so you're going to have to wait to see who the third in that heat is until 3 weeks' time, so look out for that. And all I can tell you is that from what I've seen of all of the other builds all the way through, they were amazing. There's really high standard of modelling gone on. I'm not seeing any evidence of a single layout that didn't look amazing and didn't really push the boundaries of modelling and imagination. So really this series, every episode is something to look forward to. Zed Mark Anthony, hello Jenny, nice to see you again. Nice to see you too. Just came back from a job interview at Train World here in New York City. Oh wow, how did that go? That sounds like a dream job actually. Well, good luck to you. When do you find out about that? That does sound like, a bit like getting a job at Miniature Wunderland. T-Bone, can I ask, why did you choose the APT for the Rail Riders logo? Right, it's a long story. Right, Rail Riders was a club that was run and operated by British Rail between 1981 and 1991, and subsequent to that, British Rail sold some of the assets in 1992, and they also, I wouldn't say licensed, but they gave permission to use the logo and other assets of the club, stroke gave them away to a number of other organisations, which included, but were not limited to, the National Railway Museum, Crewe Heritage Centre, York Model Railway Society. So the Rail Riders logo, this is the actual Rail Riders logo that British Rail commissioned and owned. However, we got permission from one of those aforementioned organisations, said, yeah, for non-commercial use, that's absolutely fine. One proviso, you either need to get a separate license to use the BR double arrows, which if you ever see the original Rail Riders logo, it has the BR double arrow at the bottom, or you have to remove it from the logo because it is a separate intellectual property that is still owned. It's actually owned by the Department for Transport now. BRB ceased to exist, but it didn't just dump all its assets or just give them away. they all passed to the Department for Transport, and one of the very actively used ones, because if you ever see a road sign in Britain that points the direction to a railway station, it still uses that logo has become shorthand on maps and signs for a railway station, because it's very distinctive, and it just makes the signs a lot easier to recognise at a glance, and presumably helps people from overseas who don't speak English to know exactly where the railway stations are. So you have to buy a licence for that, which we decided it was just easier to remove the logo. So there you are. That's the potted history of why we are legitimately wearing the Rail Riders logo on our tops. Right, the Growler Blackwood Engage layout, just in from work, and you're live already. Yes, we're coming on early because of a visit to Bolton Model Railway Society again. Hopefully we're going to organise doing a live stream from there at some point in the future, but at the moment that just means we're going to have to do the live stream a little bit earlier. Congrats on reaching the semi-final on the GMRC. Thank you very much. The layout was streets ahead of the other two teams' efforts, not taking anything away from the other teams. Yeah, I think a lot of people were very impressed with our build, not least the team, because it all really came together. And I'm going to, let's have a see now. There you are. So there's some nice close-ups here on let's just see what we've got going on here. So you can see it really is an impressive layout, and the laser there caught in the act of firing. Oh, that's interesting. As the oh, I only just noticed some of the back scene looks to have peeled off. I never noticed that on the day. But let's have a look. Have we got another overview? I think this is probably the closest I've got to a full overview of the layout. But yeah, it came together really well, I have to say. And oh, thank you very much. And Zoe has brought me a cup of tea. So one thing I'm going to do.
Coffee. You asked for coffee.
Yeah, coffee flavoured tea. Oh, you gotta get the stuff. This is the Jenny Monday Club. You can see there, resplendent with the amazing logo. And if I turn it around, we've got the JK logo on there. You can buy these from our Teespring store if you really want your own custom mug and feel part of the crew. Oh, she does make a good cup of coffee, it has to be said. Yeah, the other two layouts were really good, and it is genuinely the case that all the way through we thought, it was anybody's game all the way through to when things were announced at the end. And actually, for me, the point where I got an inkling that we might be on to winning was the point where we did the big reveal. And unfortunately for Scarborough Flyers, they were beset with a lot of technical issues with running their trains. And you're not in the studio going, oh yes, we're in with a chance now because everything's gone cockeyed for them. No, it's not like that. What you actually do is you actually feel really sorry for them, and you think, oh my god, I hope that doesn't happen to us, because the reveal, I think, was done in the order that it was filmed. They got done first, then us, and then the Agatha Christie layout. And when the Scarborough Flyers were beset with all these technical difficulties, we thought, oh my god, I hope that doesn't happen to us. And then ours went off faultlessly, and we thought, well, we've given it our all there. Let's see what happens. And Team Phoenix really put in a good show as well. Everything really worked for them. And there was just some really nice ideas. I particularly like using the TPO set to just flick the body out of the train. I thought it was simple yet effective. So up until they announced it, I felt by the time we'd done the reveal, and then they retire for a deliberation, and the TV crew starts filming pickup shots and that. We really thought that actually it could have been between us and Agatha Christie. We felt that both of us had we delivered what we said we were going to deliver. So it's not clear cut in the studio, and the standard of the other models was really, really good. I've been yabbering away here. I'm keeping an eye on the screens here for Melanie. She's stuck in traffic somewhere. She is coming, but let's have a look. New Durham Junction Model Railway, right, catch you later, off to take Zara to girls rugby training. Grand, we'll catch you later. All of this can be seen on Catch Up on YouTube. The reason, as I said before, for any of you just joined us, that we're a little bit early today is simply down to doing a visit to Bolton Model Railway Club down at Bolton Trinity Street Station. So if you're around from 7:30 in the area, come on down and have a look in, because there's going to be myself, Les and Melanie there, hopefully when Melanie gets here. So that's where we're up to. Let's have a look. Bluegrass Rail fans, shame we can't watch the show in the States. It sounds really interesting. Actually, just going down a few comments. Gamehammer Classic Gaming says, I won't say use a VPN and fake being in the UK, but there are ways to see the show outside the UK. Yeah, there's a few people said that they have been able to watch it if you sort of take to the Naughty Network. There is floating around a link to a video site that will let you watch our episode, but I can't just give it out. It's got to be, the codes are generated by the film company, and thus far I've only been able to pass it on to Stefan Nielsen, because he lives in Sweden and therefore has the same problem that you guys have. But yeah, if you use a VPN and fake being in the UK, if you don't know how to do that, don't worry, you're in great company, neither do I. But Google is your friend. I have asked Pat Doyle, the series producer, about is it going to get syndicated abroad, such as the level of interest. So hopefully if he does get back to me with an answer on that, I don't think he knows either, then of course I will relay that on. Lee Phillipson, hello to you. Canadian Rail fan, bit early Jenny, yeah I know, because we're going on that visit to Bolton Model Rail Club. Canadian Rail fan as well done on just jumped a moment there. Well done on GMRC, looking forward to semi-finals. But yeah, you were part of the crew though, weren't you? So were you part of the crew at the semis? Because some of the crew changed. My connection to the party line, aka Captain Hip, aka, I didn't actually get his proper name, I just kept calling him Captain Hip, for this thing where I take the P out of hipsters, because I'm old and middle-aged. And they do this thing where they button up their t-shirts or shirts to the right to the top, but no tie. And to me, that's like total hipster. So we were joking about that, and I started calling him Captain Hip, my connection to the party line. But I know he wasn't back for the semi-finals because he was priorly disposed doing another TV gig. So I don't know if you were on that one as well. All right. Z Mark Anthony, I start training on Wednesday. I'll be processing online orders and working the operating layout. Oh, boom! Dream job has been landed. Good for you, Z Mark Anthony. I saw the new Hornby Hogwarts set in the warehouse. Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not really big on Harry Potter and all that stuff, but I do know that a lot of the the cool kids are into that stuff. You know, when I was little. I say little. When I was, teenage years, what did we obsess about? It was probably stuff like Indiana Jones and He-Man, Masters of the Universe, I guess. What children's books were a big deal when I was a kid. We were still reading Famous Five and Magic Faraway Tree. You know, we still had the old stuff, Secret Seven. So a lot of Enid Blyton. Roald Dahl is actually Roald Dahl, I guess. They did the film adaptation of The Witches, which was interesting. We had the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, and I remember Back to the Future being quite a big deal as well. John Nutman, evening Jenny. Hope all going well with the TV programme. Yeah, seems to be. Yeah, we got through to the. Apparently we won the heat. So we're back in the semi-finals. Actually, the entire thing's been filmed. I actually, through virtue of the fact that they invited all and sundry to be in the audience, everybody who'd been involved was in the audience who could make it for the final. I do actually know who won it, and I'm not telling you. John Nutman, not seen them yet. I think we're... what are we? John Nutman. Oh, not seen it yet. Evening, Jenny. Hope all going well with the two. Oh, right, not seen them yet. Right, no worries. It's well worth looking forward to and watching. I think it's better than last year. It has to be said. I think the standard has been upped, but still in an accessible way, and that's very important. People have embraced the sort of outlandishness of some of the themes and pushed the limits of the imagination, but kept it deliverable. And I think that's going to be the winning secret of this. Brian Moser, love the GMRC layout. Thank you very much. I've put a few videos of it up online on my channel. Also, before anybody asks, the wonderful music composed by Bruno Greif, who is an Israeli music producer who's probably much better known as being 1/5 of the very successful, globally successful pop group Terry Poison, who've had a number of #1 singles. But in my day job, I do collaborations with him, with my writing his music, basically sort of a glorified lyricist for a new project. But he very kindly recorded us some music for both this and for the semi-final layout, which we will hear in 4 weeks' time, I guess. So if you want to hear the full version of that track, it's only actually a minute long, you can head over to my channel, and there is sort of a montage of various shots of the layout set to that beautiful, beautiful music. So just to let you know, it's currently sat in the warehouse at Hatton's, but it will be getting out and about, and ultimately it'll be going to Bolton Model Railway Club and will be being kept in their club room, at least in the medium-term future. Let's have a look. T-Bone, interesting thoughts. If you have any on Bachmann's War flat wagons, good, but the Cromwells are a bit naff. I haven't actually seen them in person, it has to be said, so I won't. I can't really pass any opinion on them. What I have seen of Hatton's war flats and also the Oxford Rail ones is they are very, very good. So they've come third to the party, so they've definitely got to keep up with that game. So it's something I'll look out for, actually, if they come out in slightly later guises. I'm a big fan of sort of 1970s tops period, so we'll see what comes out. John Nutman, not seeing it. Oh, still go to my club on evening. It's on. Yeah. If you can watch it on catch up, that's probably the best way. Or PM, and do it from the catch up if you're abroad. Scott Malcolm, hi from Canada. Hi to you. Always great to have people on from around the world. Overdene Station. Hello, Jenny. Loved the chat. Thank you very much. Brian 37420 Long. Good evening to you. This is Brian Long, incidentally, everybody, who is another 1/6 of Team Rail Riders. So boom in the house. I'm still waiting for Melanie. Actually, she's stuck in traffic somewhere. I do know that she's on her way, and she was supposed to have been here for about sort of half five-ish. And we're nearly at 6 o'clock, so just got to keep an eye on things. Got another hour to run before we're going to have to, we're going to be picked up by Les to head on down to this big invite to the Bolton Model Railway Club. But I'm just keeping an eye out the window. There's still no sign of her. Let's just see. She sent me a message. In traffic, 10 minutes, she said 9 minutes ago. Stuck in traffic before. Oh, she's just round the corner. Just round the corner. So hopefully she'll be with us shortly. John Nutman, don't think I should be watching you, Elo. Just hope I can watch it soon. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. In that case, if you don't want to know the score, look away now. We won. The Heat. No, I'm not giving anything away. Canadian Rail fan. Yes, I was. Boom. Yeah, I'm still trying to, in my head, I'm trying to work, because I'm rubbish at names. It takes me months to learn people's names and stuff. Captain Hip. If you can tell me who the heck Captain Hip was, with the youngish polo shirt done up, knickerbockers, keeping the hip alive. Who was he? Scott Malcolm. Have you seen the Engage War of the World layout? New Junction went for a visit and did a video on his channel. Yeah, it was a bit naughty. He did that literally the week that our video was hitting the screens, which was very naughty, I thought. Given it was not uncommon knowledge. There was enough people who'd been through GMRC for it to be known that there was a War of the Worlds layout coming up. I did see it. I personally, it felt like the theme was shoehorned a little bit in. But hey, whatever's your poison. Scott Malcolm, Diary of Adrian Mole. Haha. Fair enough. Just look. I'm not sure what the comments say. Yeah. Gamehammer Classic Gaming. When we were kids, it was He-Man, Transformers, Turtles, etc. When we were teenagers, it was Friends, Frasier. Music was a big thing for you too. Yeah, I was big on my music. I remember Friends being absolutely huge in the 90s. Frasier was a bit more highbrow. It wasn't really kids who watched Frasier. That was more your parents would watch that. Riaz Ali, your War of the Worlds theme set was great, but you should have had a tripod with its casing open, all the red entrails of the Martians hanging out, and crows picking at the rotten alien flesh. Yeah, I know that was part of... That's actually one of the final pictures in the Jeff Wayne album artwork. But, it's a family show. You've got to be a little bit careful, and also keep it deliverable. I've seen Melanie's just pulled up, so the staff are just making sure that she's fed and sent on up to the hot seat up here. So hopefully in a moment we'll have Melanie joining us. T-Bone, did anyone share ideas or help out that didn't make the final cut? Like what used to happen on Scrap Heap Challenge? Love that show. Yeah, I love that show as well. Yeah, did help out to some extent. Some of the other teams, some of them helped us. More often it was a case of, like, have you got a tool that we haven't got, or we've run out of fish plates, or little tips like that, or like, have you thought about doing X, Y, and Z? And that happened all the way through the series. It has to be said. So yeah, there wasn't really rivalry per se. Essentially, it was more a case of we all knew that we were there to kind of have fun. So there wasn't an us and them mentality between teams, which was great. Let's have a look. James Hardy, did you enjoy your East Lancashire Railway visit? Yeah, it was really good. The weather, unfortunately, was none too great, and that kept a lot of people away, and those that we had were a little bit camera shy. So it was great to meet you a little bit, but actually they kept them. No, you could just haul them away. The thing you have to remember, though, is that not everybody had space for them. So there were a lot of layouts, not all, but there were a lot that were quite simply stripped and junked. And I helped dismantle one at the end of one of the stages that we were in. And it was heartbreaking because the glue and the paint was still wet. And all these, there's about a $3,000 budget for each of these layouts. And to be just putting this stuff in a skip was heartbreaking. But there were people on the scrounge, usually in the audience at the end, who were quite happy to take unwanted layouts. So, excuse me, it was very much the minority of ones that got scrapped. And I know that there's a couple of model railway clubs that have welcomed with open arms some of the GMRC redundant layouts. So all bar, I think, maybe one or two have found a new home. Gamehammer Classic Gaming, will you behave yourself? James Hardy, I didn't know there was layouts at Fawley Hill. Yeah, there was quite a few actually, mostly O-gauge it seems. Mark Rice, hi Jen, good to see you. Good to have you in as well. It's great to have people on. T-Bone, I remember Fireman Sam, Postman Pat, Thomas the Tank Engine, of course. 64 Zoo Lane. Yeah, I remember Fireman Sam kind of turned up a little bit late for me, but Postman Pat was very much my era. Thomas the Tank Engine, yeah, the originals narrated by Ringo Starr. I remember being really excited when they first came on the TV, and I watched them the first time round, the very early ones. They were great. We also had Big Bertha. Bertha, oh lovely Bertha. And what else did we have? See, going right back, I remember Bagpuss, Chock-a-Block, Let's Pretend, me and you, and also Us and Them, with the puppets, and what was his name? And it was set like on a market in somewhere in the town. Pigeon Street. If you go down to Pigeon Street, here are the people you will meet. I always loved Long Distance Clara. Right, Brian Muzzer, the guy from last year's sci-fi layout was at Swansea show over the weekend. Oh, which one? Wasn't it? Was it Derry? Derry Faux Nightingale. Him with the hat all the time. Pretty young, actually. He's actually only about 20. I couldn't believe this. He was on Biggest Little Railway with us. There's also Alex, who's the big guy again. He was in Biggest Little Railway. Used to run Model Rail Express magazine. Or there was also Charlie, who's the older guy, was one of the team leaders, team leader of Team B on Biggest Little Railway, sort of white hair. Again, the hat. It's like, you can't film us, we're breaking the law. Mark Rice, nice to see Mel and you, the Golden Girls. Oh, well, thank you very much. Very much flying the flag for the other half of the species, and there were actually a surprising number of women on. We were the only women in our heat, which at the time of filming I thought was a bit worrying. But I've since learned, because I've got the Pico magazine that gives us the lowdown of all the teams. There's actually quite a lot of women in it, including Loco ladies, who were an all-female team. So we're really pleased to see that. I think it's great for the hobby. Now, Zoe, Gamehammer Classic Gaming, Finger Mouse. I'm sorry, but we've with the children's TV. Brian 37420 long. A lot of detail and work did not get shown from the layouts too. They simply did not have enough time to show all the details. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I've said to a few people in interviews over the last week or so that actually they could have had that length of that length of program following the building of each of the three layouts. So you could have had 3 programs out of one program, and you still wouldn't have seen everything of interest, and you still would have been a very engaging program. Brian Motter, Laurie Calvert from Team no, it was Team Steampunk. You're getting the two teams confused. Team Sci-Fi did the Doctor Who layout. Team Steampunk. Hello. We have our special guest has finally battled her way through the traffic. Come on in, squeeze behind me. We've got the seat in all.
Cool. Yeah. I have my cup of tea.
Oh, you've got the merchandise mug as well.
Yeah, I said downstairs showing the merchandise.
Yeah, merchandise all the way. We've got one in green, one in blue. I'm just going to tilt the screen around a little bit. A suitcase full of used £5 notes, non-consecutive bill denomination.
Can't help you with that.
Oh, you all out?
Yeah.
Oh. But hey, this is Melanie Lewis that you'll recognise from our team on Friday. And how did you feel it went?
I thought it went actually very well.
I think we've put on a good show.
I thought it was a great layout. At the time, I wasn't thinking about it because there was just so much to do. You just have to get on and do it. Mm. But with hindsight, watching it on TV, it's a fantastic layout. Yeah,
because time is so pressurised that you never get a moment where you can kind of step back and admire and go, oh, isn't that great? You never get that moment because there's so much to do in such a tight time scale, and you've got film crews going around getting in your way, say, oh, can we just film that from another angle, or get out of shot, or stop making a noise. So that really eats into the building time a lot as well. But one of the things I keep getting asked about is the Scratch Build Challenge, and that was you blasted through that. So how did you find the Scratch Build Challenge, actually taking it on?
It could have been a lot worse. Actually, as ridiculous items to build Scratch-built items out of, could have been a lot worse. I think I would have been stuck if it had been the tutu.
Oh, the ones that they
had from last week.
Yeah, because I talked with I'm trying to think who. I think it was Steve Flynn too. I said, so who's actually deciding this? Because I had visions that they'd sort of Kathy and Steve between them, and the presenters would have come up with the bits. But apparently, what they were doing was the day before they were sending a couple of the runners down to the big Tesco in Henley and say, buy 3 lots of just outlandish stuff. I was told that one day they came back with a packet of condoms and some tampons and applicators and were told, go back and get something we can put on TV. It's a family show. But yeah, that's essentially...
Which is why a lot of my stuff ended on the cutting room floor.
Oh yes. Oh, innuendo bingo.
Yes. With James and Tim.
But did you notice that the camel toe made the edit?
Yes, I did notice the camel toe made the edit.
There's actually a bit more to that which didn't make the edit, and I'm sure that Kathy was
But
playing.
our camel
right.
didn't make the edit.
No, I mean there's so much that went on, and it's a bit like when I did Biggest Little Railway. You have all these different storylines that they film, and they film them all the way through, which then get dumped for time. And it's almost like...
Buy her mugs.
Yeah, buy my mugs. Also, don't forget, check out the channel on Patreon. You too can support the videos. And what else? Oh yeah, you can buy my books. They're really quite good. I must actually track down through Pat whether James, the presenter, liked my books. Because he picked up one of my books on filming, and he just kept reading and got really sucked into it. And it'd be interesting to see what he actually thought about it. But yeah, buy my books, buy the mugs. I think there's t-shirts knocking about somewhere as well. But yeah, I think the Scratch Build Challenge, to return back to that, it seems to have very much polarised people. I get the impression people either love the idea or hate the idea. I mean, where would you sit on the idea of having that in the programme?
I think if you're going to properly scratch build, you can't discount anything as a piece of material that you can put into a model.
Yeah.
If you just go, well, I'm not going to use that, I'm just going to go down the model shop and I'm going to buy some plastic card and I'm going to buy this and I'm going to buy that, and that's all you use, then you're suppressing your imagination somewhat. If you look at people like ILM and some of the models that they make.
Yeah. I mean, the Death Star, the surface of the Death Star, some of the stuff that's actually made out of, and they're kind of picking stuff for their shape rather than what it is. I know, was it Blake 7? They basically went down to the local model shop and bought up every Airfix kit they had, and then threw away the instructions, cut all the bits off the sprue, and just started sticking them together to make interesting shapes.
Because there are certain things, if you look at sort of science fiction spacecraft in the days of physical models, for physical model filming, there are certain shapes that come out time and time again. And in the profession, they're known as universal greeblies. And a couple of them are the rear part of a Tiger tank.
Is that the bit where you've got like the fan with the...
Yeah, exactly. That turns up time and time again. The other bit is the old big Saturn V had little lunar landers.
Oh, right.
And it's just like half of a little lunar lander. And they end up... And what they used to do was they used to take it and then take a mould and make multiple copies of it. And
otherwise it's a very expensive way of building your Death Star trench run.
And in Space Cowboys, there's actually a giant one on the back wall of the diner, because they made a model of the diner first for a shot and then built the real set, and they had to introduce this thing, so they made like a sort of a 5-to-1 scale, right?
Well, I know that watching Thunderbirds as well, one of my favourite pastimes as a kid was playing Spot the Model. And actually in the Thunderbird models, there's one particular bit which always made me go, yes, I've got one of them, was the bit where they're on the sofa and then they go down and then they get trundled out on a trolley to then go into Thunderbird 1. The trolley that trundles the sofa along is actually a Hornby 00 Lomac wagon, is what it is, that's been repainted and tarted up and had the Pico couplings removed. But every time I see that, it's interesting because you then immediately know what size the models were. When you can visualise a piece and you think, I know how big that piece is.
And they're quite big.
Well,
those
they
sets.
are, yes, because that was quite a small bit of this set with the big
Yeah.
Thunderbird 1. So Thunderbird 1 would have been about 4 feet tall, which is, quite a big model.
Yeah, but don't rule anything out.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the ones in the challenge are, some of the items are a bit out there, but
I think there's always, from what I've seen, there's always a team that actually does something with those items where you think, that's really good. And for me, I think that the winner for what you did was the security fencing.
yes,
Because I think the trick with the Scratch Build challenge is it's about building something that looks like it was always meant to be there, rather than being shoehorned in because you had to, like that static grassed high heel shoe in Series 1. That security fencing that you made out of the bird feeder wire, for me, was the genius, because it actually looked like we were always going to put something there that looked like that.
well, the trick I'd seen in Season 1 was that use bits of things. If you use the thing in its entirety, it looks
Yeah.
quite obvious what it is.
It looks like a watering can that's had static
or half
grass
a
and-
ping pong ball or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
So
yeah, it's
take a part of something. So people were using the mesh from the bird feeder literally straight off the bird feeder, and it basically looked like a piece of bird feeder.
yeah, like the lighthouse was nice, but I think what they were looking for in the Scratch Build Challenge is the imagination to make it not look like the original items. And I think that's probably the secret. Anybody who's tempted to actually apply for and go on Series 3, which almost certainly will be happening, that's something to bear in mind. You don't have to use everything, just a piece of the 3 items, which is exactly what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember whether it made the cut in at all, but you're actually holding what's left of the ping pong racket, and you were wafting yourself with it
Yeah.
when they were filming you. And I can't remember if that actually made the cut, but of course you'd used the actual backing off
yeah.
it and the ping pong ball, which was okay because that was part of that
So
item.
you use every item you were given, but you don't have to use all of every item you were given.
Yeah, very much so. Which does make it a little bit easier, I guess. And I suppose what they're looking for, it's the challenge element with that is probably something which goes down very well with non-modelers, because they think, oh, well, that'll be interesting. But by the same token, I think it's quite genius that it's showing people that you don't have to spend lots of money on stuff. You're limited really only by your imagination and what you can find, like in junk and whatever, and household items you can repurpose. I mean, I've seen a steelworks in a model built entirely out of leftover plumbing supplies and bits of electrical stuff, which is actually really good. And he reckoned it was like 20 quid's worth of bits and stuff, and most of that went on the glue. Let's have a look at some of the comments here. What else have we got? Don Cragen, hi Jenny, good morning from California. Good morning to you. Well, it's actually evening here, but hey.
8 hours
T-Bone.
behind.
Yeah, we get a lot of people in Australia as well, where it's probably about 4 in the morning at the moment.
Yeah.
T-Bone, last year they had an electric plug. I'd have been completely lost. See, the thing about an electric plug...
There's lots of bits. You dismantle
Yeah,
it.
dismantle it. And the prongs, for a start, you can, once you take the top off, the prongs all individually come out. And I bet you could make actually some quite nice square section bollards out of them. What else? I mean, the actual fuse as well, you can do great many things with, because it's a lovely shape for making barrels, lengths of pipes, even bombs, depending on what kind of theme you've got going on with your layout.
I'd probably use the innards, but actually not worry too much about the white moulding of the actual plug itself.
Right. So what, use it as a sort of piece of industrial decor?
I just take the bits out and use them as where I could, but the outside of the plug looks too much like the outside of a plug, so I'd probably
Bin that.
bin that.
And of course that's absolutely fine, because you don't have to use every bit
Yeah.
of every item. Let's have a look. Tony Britton, evening Jenny, you're early tonight. That's because we're going to be out to Bolton Model Railway Club later on. Les is swinging by. We've unlocked him from the dungeon where he whittles jablight. And all three of us are going down to the Bolton Model Railway Club, which is at Bolton Trinity Street Station between platforms 4 and 5. And it'd be great to see anybody who wants to head on down there and say hello. Ham Shackleton, evening to you. Great to have you along. James Hardy, wasn't there a high heel in last year's scratch build? Yeah, that was the round that Missenden Modellers were on, wasn't it? Because they incorporated the heel of the high heel as a bollard in the dock, which actually I thought was quite good because it looked plausible.
You had the entire one covered in flock.
That was some guy static grassed it, which I thought was a bit of a cop-out, and so did the presenters.
And then somebody else cut all the webbing off of it and actually used that in a sensible way.
Yeah.
But didn't they also... Was that also the same team that used lipstick cases as bombs or something?
That was that Go Forth? No, Go Forth had the... it was the brass tubing. Because they were in the same round as the EastEnders one. And the thing that always sticks in my mind is he made the world's deepest manhole.
Yeah, which is just a bit of pipe stuck
It
down
was
a
the
hole
entire length of the pipe because they looked under the board, and I just thought that was a great shot where you see them looking underneath and there's this pipe going down, which was something of a cop out, but yeah. Mark Croucher, we all have a box full of bits which just might be useful. Yeah, never throw anything away. Let's have a look. Brian 37420 long. That's Brian. Mel, where's your red t-shirt?
I came straight from work.
She did actually, yeah.
I've done 8 hours over a hot keyboard. I'm now here.
Slaving over a hot keyboard. 8 hours? That's a short day where I work. But no, but I'm flying the flag for. Let me get my hair out of the way so you can all see the full glory of our Rail Riders logo.
Oh, that's what you're showing them.
Oh, sorry, yeah. No, I'm not just pressing my boob to the camera. The camera's up there somewhere. There. People at home are going, "Oh, stop poking." Let's have a look. What else have we got in the comments? Brian Moser. New Junction was there too. Oh, are we talking about the Daypol Open Day? There's a conversation going on here. Let's have a look. I'm sorry, I'm just curious. So I went to the Swansea exhibition, so climate film purchased 2 pairs of... right. I'm with you. Right, so you're at the Swansea... Swansea's quite far from here, it has to be said. I'm trying to think, what exhibition am I going to next? I'm actually displaying at one at Rain Hill. Not next month, the month after. I don't do a lot of exhibitions because I'm just such a busy person. Faya Olin, hi, early start again. Yeah, we're going out later on. Excuse me, to Bolton Model Railway Club. So that's why. Mark Wilson, my inner monologue always reads this in a Sutton Ashfield accent. Evening, my ducks. What's going on? I keep explaining. Have I missed any handouts from the Cupboard Monkey? You have actually. Yeah, I got a cup of coffee from the Cupboard Monkey. John Nutman, I will go into mine soon. Alex Transport stream offline. Are we online, everybody? It's David Boyle has passed away. I didn't know that. Oh, that's sad news.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he was, but certainly Daypol. When did they form Daypol? They kind of inherited a lot of the Airfixy stuff, but must be 80s.
Yeah.
Leslie Gilpin, Swansea exhibition had a lot of bargains for evening both. This is getting earlier and earlier. No, this is the exception rather than the norm. That was sad news that David Boyle's passed away. But anyway, to go back to GMRC, Melanie as well, of course, as you well know, is the creator of the amazing tripods. So it wouldn't be a proper live stream without having the opportunity to talk a little more about these tripods. So I've tried, whenever I've been getting interviewed, I did a big interview this morning, I've always been trying to describe these things, but obviously you're the one who made them, and one of the questions I keep getting asked is what's actually inside them. What's making them do their special thing?
Right, so it's actually a very small microcontroller. A microcontroller is like a very tiny computer, the sort of thing that would control your washing machine.
Right.
Or sort of goods like that. And these are particularly small. It's...
Oh, they're seeing the picture we're seeing on the screen.
Okay. Anyway,
No,
so
but-
you're talking about something about the size of the end
Go on,
of
you
your...
can show them now. Show them.
So it's talking about the size of your end of your finger. So it's a chip about that big with 8 pins on. There's a few other things on there. And for those who did computers in the 80s, they would be used to its capabilities, which is 4K of RAM.
Is this a BBC Master Series or something, or is this before even that?
Early versions of those, sort of like VIC-20 type level.
Right.
So it's something like that, but it's just a chip that's got some pins that you can turn on and off, and
Right.
I wrote some software to control a laser, a servo, so it sends the right pulse lengths to control a servo, and it does PWM to do the lights at the back.
Yeah, they're the lights in the engine bay, which
Yeah.
kind of pulsated a green. Was it
Yeah.
green?
Red. So the design was something actually I knocked up. Actually, where was I? I'm trying to remember where I was.
I remember you saying you were away with work and you were doing it in the hotel room or something.
Yeah,
Was it Los Angeles?
I got So I went to Tenerife on holiday a couple of years ago. I got very bored, so I went to one of the local sort of odds and sods shop that had stationery for the kids who were about to start their new year,
Right.
and found a book of 4mm square graph paper, which is really useful
I suppose so. Yeah.
because it's basically each square is a foot. So I kind of basically knocked up some sketches for these in a sort of non-copyright infringing way, inspired by what we from the novels, the films, and Jeff Wayne actually.
Yeah, and in some respect, we were doing our own take on it all. So it's nice to not be an exact copy of any of the particular things, but rather draw inspiration from them all. And they're actually very durable. I was surprised how durable these are, because they're still set up like you see on your screen at the moment on the layout where it is in storage, and they've survived being transported back from Reading. But it's brass rod you've used for the legs.
Yeah, so it's brass rods for the legs of a couple of dimensions, so they fit inside one another. Plastic tubing, plastruct, that sort of thing. The main body was basically designed could I make it out of flat pieces of plastic whilst making it a nice 3D shape. So the whole design is basically based around lots of pieces stuck together, a lot of geometry.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's the kind of scratch building which I wouldn't dare take on, because I can never measure and cut pieces of plastic card that accurately. There's always a piece you measure once, measure twice, and then you carefully cut, and somehow it's gone slightly out of line when you've cut it. I never can quite fathom that.
So the trick for these ones was that the middle strip is all the same height. So I cut them straight to the drawing and built them on top of the drawing. So that gave the middle section. The top and the bottom I did the same way. Then you got the sides, so that's when you know the width of where it needs to join the bottom, you know where it needs to join the middle. So that I actually just used set compasses and read off what I'd already cut.
Right.
So I wasn't going accurately. I wasn't going strictly to the draw. And then once I got to that, the rest was measuring and cutting to fit in the holes. Some of them did get a bit wrong, so it's a bit of filing and a bit of filler.
Yeah. And the other thing that's worth pointing out, that as you see in these pictures, the little bowl with the human on the end of like a cable, an arm, that was the ping pong balls from the Scratch Build Challenge.
Yeah.
Which I mean, for me, the security fencing was the impressive thing. But for I think Kathy Millett picked up on that, and she just loved the way that it just looked like it belonged there.
I actually think it makes it look better.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With hindsight now, looking at it, because I didn't design them to be there, I just noticed that the ping pong ball happened to fit the size of the base.
I think it's genius. It works really well, and we got I think it was just one of the Hornby figures from one of the packs,
but and a bit of wire.
But it fits with the narrative, and that was really important, I guess. I'm just going to put up on screen. This is a screenshot from the program. What amazes me, I think people can see my pointer. I don't know what the mothership is. We had a green laser in the corner that was giving this sort of sense that there were more pods coming
and a bit of story.
Yeah, but it's interesting that the person who's done the graphics for the TV company's added in a mothership and made it look like a flying saucer, which actually we should have over here the crashed pod. But hey,
the tripods are in the wrong place.
They are actually, yeah. As is Thunderchild. I think they got very confused making these. But I'm just looking back through. There's a shot here. This is us all admiring the build, and this genuinely happened, didn't it? This wasn't staged. We actually finished with a little bit of time.
And we kind of thought we haven't got what. We basically decided that you could actually fiddle with it too much. So we made a point of stepping away and just said, who wants a cup of tea?
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that's quite important, to recognise when peak excellence has been achieved. And it's like cresting a hill. And the more effort you put in, you end up going back downhill and detracting from the model. So we felt that we reached a point where we were happy with it. And it was like, let's just stand back and not mess about with it. Gosh, I look pregnant there. Look at them. Oh, it's not the most flattering picture of me.
I know. Well, I seem to put on 3 stone in these videos.
Well, they say that having a camera on you adds £20, and I'm guessing.
And then some, I think, for me.
Well, I think there's about 20 or 30 cameras on me. But yeah, there's some nice. Oh, actually, we do have. Here we are. There's a nice overview of the layout, so you can see there actually the actual layout of stuff. But yeah, I actually really like that layout, and it does seem to have resonated with the public thus far. So I think this is. We always said at the time, didn't we? This was a layout for keeps.
Yes.
But anyway, let's just see what are people saying in the chat room. So I'm just gonna go back up, because whilst we've been chatting about the tripods, Faya Olan coffee, no wine this week. No, we've got to stay sober because we're going to be going out to the Bolton Model Railway Club. John Nutman. Anyway, Jenny, got to go off to my club. Yes, a lot of people going out for club night. Is it Monday night club night or something? I don't know. I like transport. Oh, we're talking about all the goodies. Actually, you've got some good goodies there. Colin Wykes, big up for Sutton and Ashfield. Oh, yes. Game Hammer Classic Gaming. 4K of RAM. Nobody needs that much memory. You're starting to sound like Bill Gates. So how much memory does it actually run in?
It's 1.2K of code and about 100 bytes of
Oh, right.
RAM.
So you weren't even taxing it.
No.
Brian, 37420 long. Good evening, Les. That's 4 of the 6 team members here now. I don't know whether Simon A.C. Martin's about. Stefan, I think, watches these on catch-up. I'm not sure what time it is in Sweden. I don't think they're more than an hour difference.
No, they're only an hour behind.
I like transport. Sorry, must go. Bye. It's great to have you along. Don't forget, you can catch up and watch the full video on YouTube after the live stream is done. It goes up there and you can watch it as a regular video, and it also means that you can go and catch up on all of the other previous live streams too. Leslie Gilpin, still to see the whole episode. Saw the end on Friday, then the start last night, then noticed another popular live streamer did an unadvertised live stream at midnight, so still to see the middle. Ham Shackleton, oh yeah, More memory than I have some days when the synapses don't talk to each other. Oh, I find that early in the morning. John Nutman, got to get ready. Speak later. Bye now. Oh, no problem. Catch you later. John Carville. Hi, Jenny. Just joined you. Great to have you along. Leslie Gilpin. I like transport. I bought 3 N passenger cars and a boxcar. Only ones US with micro trains couplers. Let's have a look. Faya Olan says, well done with the scratch build challenge. You were our secret weapon on that, actually. It's a toughie. I don't think anybody really looks forward to doing the scratch build challenge.
I did volunteer though, didn't I?
Yeah, and it's nobody argued with you as well. It's like, you want to do it? Oh, grand, you go right ahead there. But obviously, obviously everybody knows we're now through to the
Can we let them into the... Yeah, we'll let them into the secret. So the second day was the scratch build challenge.
Yes, you got it.
The deadline is 4 p.m.
Yes, it comes across in the way they've edited it, like it's like now, do it, right, you're done.
But you get given it in the morning, and you've got a deadline of 4 p.m. But they dragged me off to talk about the tripods for an hour before the deadline.
Yeah, the TV company and Canadian Rail fan, you bear some responsibility for this. They kept trying to use up a time. I think that they saw you were actually making a pretty good job of it, so they were trying to create a little bit of drama. Oh, you wacky TV people. Have we got Canadian Rail fans still in the room? I don't know what time it actually is in Canada, but he was one of the film crew.
Right.
What else have we got? Flymo Chairman 1, hello to you. Leslie Gilpin, don't worry about the programme drawing, no different to the cake drawing on Bake Off. Yeah, I can imagine. They hassled us beforehand. They said, we need your the diagram of what you're going to build. It's like, diagram? Anybody, you think we have a plan, like we're building this from meticulous blueprints. We're not. Leslie Gilpin, may I offer one not to like those terrible Hornby signals? Right. One of the things about this is that we had sponsors, so you had to get your stuff from certain suppliers, and the only suppliers who supplied signals were Hornby. And so we played a little bit of the corporate game by incorporating some of the available Hornby range. So that's why they're in there, and I don't think they're too bad in the grand scheme of things. They're not something that I would buy for my own layout. But I think actually we could have got ratio signal kits, but you'd have had to build them, and that is a lot of work. So it's a trade-off. So that's what we used. And yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I'd probably, if left to my own devices, going for the Burco Econ range, but they weren't on the list of suppliers, so we couldn't really bring them in. Faya Olan, will your animations for the final have more movement? I think you had a well-deserved win. Yours was definitely the best looking layout, but the others had more wow factor. It's actually the semi-final that we're up in next, and we do all right, actually. Some of the moving things is quite a tricky thing to produce, especially just bear in mind that for the semi-final there's no pre-builds, so you've got to do this within the time frame, and not everybody is great at making things, building mechanisms that move. Now I know my forte is scenery and laying track, but outside of that I'm a little bit lost. So we do have stuff that moves. I don't know how much of it they'll show on TV. There's a lot of aspects of each of the layouts which seem to get missed off in the edit, but let's see how we come across first.
Yeah, you come up with ideas, and sometimes they don't work out in reality. Yeah. And the problem is you haven't got time to go back.
Yeah, sometimes you'll try and build something and it just doesn't work, and you don't have the time to get it to work. It's something that I said all through the planning for the layouts is keep it deliverable. There's no prizes for trying to be a hero and coming up with this fabulous idea that when you actually try and build it, you can't finish it within the time. So I think we were probably a little bit conservative in places, but we valued reliability over having glitzy stuff, and a lot of the other teams did have issues with fancy stuff that didn't necessarily work as reliably as they wanted them to, and you do get marked down for things that don't work as planned. So it's very easy to lose points off fancy builds that don't quite perform.
Because personally, as somebody who likes sort of small engineering and neat little gadgets, I did actually like Scarborough's animations. The camel run and the platform.
The spinning platform was very good.
They were great, and that Acropolis, whatever it is, temple thing, was a really nice piece of modelling.
Oh, that was amazing. I've got a good photograph actually of it somewhere before they put it into their model, and the standard of the modelling on that was amazing.
But sadly, you could also tell the standard in the track laying wasn't there.
Yeah, track laying was not their forte, and I think they'd also made a bit of work with themselves, because they laid their track onto those polystyrene risers, which is that is notoriously difficult to get track to stick to that stuff reliably without any movement or coming unstuck. So they had an ambitious build that was possibly beyond what they could achieve in the time frame that was available. I guess if you were building that at home, you'd have used a wooden track bed, which they just didn't have the opportunity to do.
And then the other layout, track laying was better.
Yeah, their track all worked. But they had issues with the water.
Yeah.
And their little spinny riverboat, you could see it sort of like hop, 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 hop. And they had a few issues with the motor on that. I think it was just underpowered because they had such a long arm.
It kept sticking and just...
Yeah.
And the playing, they actually had 2 people working full time on that, playing over about a day and a half.
Didn't they have somebody hitting their head with it as well? It's not shown on the edit, but when they first had it spinning round, it actually clobbered somebody in the head.
Yeah.
So people weren't without their teething troubles, and the avalanche as well took a long time to reset. I remember that. It's like, right, we need to get another shot. It's like, give us 20 minutes to dig all the snow back out. It was a great idea, but I'll let you talk to people. Let me just...
because one of the things you don't see, it's a 1 hour show with commercials.
Hello,
and it's taken... So, a lot of the third day is filming. The number of times things are reshot. So there's a lot that you don't see, and a lot of issues you don't see. So... It's a lot harder. I was surprised at how hard it was. So what have we got here? Hi JML, what do you have to do next now you won a heat? Basically it's the semi-finals, which there are 5 first round heats. Ours was show 2, so there are 3 more shows, and then there will be semi-finals, and actually and then we'll and that will be the 5 winners and the highest second place points wise. We're not sure whether we're the first or second semi-final when it goes to air. We were the first one shot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the one that comes out on air. And then after that, there's the final, and the final is 4 teams, and it's the first and second place from each of the semi-finals. So, and we went a bit off the wall for the semi-finals. But that's all I'm saying. You'll have to watch. So what else have we got? Bum, bum, bum. Hello, Florida.
Interesting.
Most you do.
Oh, that's very awesome.
So for the second round, for the semis, we start off with a bare board. So there's actually a lot more you have to do in the show. So that adds a lot of extra difficulty. I thought we did a good effort at it. But again, I'm not going to say too much. Right. Well. Okay, so what else have we got in there? So yeah. So we were allowed 6 pre-builts. We had in the end we had a couple of tripods, the town scene, the viaduct, Thunderchild, and the crashed ship. The crashed ship really was supposed to light up, but we never got round to that. What else we got? I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't actually read the screen very well. Oh, hello, Mark. Yes. So which layout was yours then, Mark? Shipley was a good show. It was quite busy though, and I had my other half with me, so I had to rush around a bit. Jenny's a very, Leslie, your track looked good. Keep it working. Yeah, Jenny's a very good track layer. She seems to do it very quickly. I think she's got a lot of experience of it. I get there in the end and it works, but I'm just so much slower. I'm actually kind of like the opposite of Jenny. I seem to be the world's slowest model railway builder. I started something about 18 months ago and have managed to lay the track and wire it up. That's it. And that's only on one board. I've still got 2 to go. 009 whole leg bridge. Yeah, that was a nice layout. That was a very nice layout. I like my 009. I'm still waiting. Jenny seems to still be on the phone. We all had possible interviews. Yeah, I'm very happy how we came across on the show. Personally, I was kind of worried how I'd appear. Going on a TV show was a big step for me. I'm not the sort of person who puts it out there. So I'm very pleased how we came across. So I think, so yeah, the layout is going to get shown at least once.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
We might have something.
You take care. Bye. Sorry, just getting booked for Alexandra Palace next year.
Well, there you are. We were just saying. I said the layout's going to be showing at least once, and that was
Alexandra Palace, London Festival of Railway Modelling. So just been talking over some of the
March time, April. It's kind of early next.
It's fairly. I think it might be February, March. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it's March, unless the dates move around. But where are we up to? What you been talking about whilst I've been gone? I can't remember, to be honest. I'm not as practiced as you are. I can't just talk to things. I'm just not very good at it. So. Oh well, you see, I started out my career as a radio presenter, so I had my baptism.
So
of
you
fire.
know how to talk rubbish for hours.
Oh yeah. Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome along to the Graveyard Shift, 2 till 4 a.m. with me, Jenny Kirk, and today we're going back on the rewind and we're going to spin some of those tunes that you really love to hear. But until then, we'll kick off with, I don't know,
You're going to show your age if you say what.
yeah. Let's kick off with a little bit of Hardcore Mother by Ultraviolence, or a little bit of Napalm Death. Right, anyway, where were we? Yes, meanwhile, back at the ranch. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Woohoo! Good evening to you. Fly Mode Chairman 1. The electric continuity thing and keeping things level for said smooth running is so important. Yeah, definitely. And cleanliness on track as well is quite another important thing. Especially, and that was one of the other things I think that a lot of the teams that had track-related issues where stuff would stall, my suspicion on that, if I was asked to diagnose it, is actually glue on the track.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily immediately visible, but when you've been building a model layout that quickly, and in oftentimes without getting the track running a lot beforehand, glue stuck to the track is actually the big killer, rather than, as Steve was going on, oh, your ballast is too high. It probably wasn't the ballast, it was more like the PVA glue that had stuck to the railhead.
More than one of us, because we had that bit of spare time on the third day, and gone round with the track rubber and...
Yeah, it's the same with your home layout, and no matter how clean you keep it, every once in a while you've got to run the track rubber over, because I don't know where it comes from, but you get black gunge that suddenly, certain trains will just suddenly decide to falter, and you think, where's that come from? Mark Croucher, talk for hours and say nout. Yeah, that's the politician thing, isn't it? Oh yeah, there we are. Oh, boom, called it. Ham Shackleton, like an MP. Fly Mode Chairman 1, haha, very little Napalm Death unless you listen to the whole album in 10 minutes. Don't they hold the record for the shortest commercial track or something? It's like something like 0.3 of a second. And the track is so short, it actually causes a lot of older CD players to crash, and it can't comprehend that there's a track that short. Linnet 12DD, happy Monday, Jenny. Oh, you're twisting my melon, man. You see what I did there? What's that? Linnet 12DD, you suffer, but why? Flammer Chairman, death. Death! I actually went to a Napalm Death concert many years ago.
And you can still hear.
It took me 3 days to recover my hearing, but yes, boom! Good old days of Barney chucking out his growly vocals. I actually caught one of the Danny Herrera's drumsticks, and that was at the Bradford Rio. Is that somewhere that you're familiar with?
Bradford Rio doesn't exist anymore, I don't think.
Does it not?
No.
Did you ever go there?
No, I know a club that used to be there.
Not even sure where in Bradford it was.
Well, the Rio closed down, and then they actually moved to Leeds, and
right.
And then they closed down as well because clubs have suffered lately.
Yeah, it's like Gilly's Rock World in Manchester shut down, and that was one that we mod. And Rock Shots in Newcastle is another one I used to go to that had been demolished and redeveloped as hipster flats. Linnet 12DD, Napalm Death track was called You Suffer But Why. I must admit, the only Napalm Death recordings I've got two. I've got the Greed Killing EP, and I've got the Nazi Punks 7-inch single. I'm not going to give it its full title, but let's just say they're being told to go forth and reproduce. Brian, 37420 long, gotta go, see you later. See you later. What else? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're talking about the War of the Worlds layout. So, yeah, hopefully it's going to be at Alexandra Palace. Big show. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Are you coming to that?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Brilliant, yeah. Be grand. Get put up in a hotel and we don't have to build anything. You got to wear your T-shirt, though. So, oh, God, I'm getting fat. Ooh, too much ice cream. But
I started a diet at about 9:15 on Friday evening.
Did you? Oh right, yeah. I must admit, I went the other way. I watched myself on TV and just started guilt eating chocolate. But have you been fed, by the way?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks.
Right, no problem. Yeah, because I put some stuff in the oven for you. I thought you might want a bit of something, so that's grand. Right, what else about the build? Actually, one of the things that I do want to draw people's attention to is Les and I did. Let me just bring this up. So Control 8. Les and I did an interview this morning, and it's gone up now on Hornby's website. So this is the Signal Box Special, episode 2, classic books. Scroll. There we go. Yeah, so there's some lovely pictures here actually. So there we all are before they announce that we got through. I look pregnant. Cameras really, in fact, everybody looks like we're all smuggling cushions. It's the cameras; they're never favourable. That's Les hard at work doing the scenery.
I'm smuggling too.
Oh dear. TV is not flattering to. I'm going to have to wear my corset or something next time I'm on TV. That's Les hard at work. That's Team Phoenix, very early on in their build. I thought that the Scarborough Flyers build, it was very different, and for me, that's kind of what makes this series, is that people are really pushing the envelope of creativity with their builds. It's not just little chocolate box layouts. And when I watched Series 1, what struck me was that not all, but a good percentage of the layouts in Series 1 were just making ordinary model railways, which I felt was kind of very boring. But this time round, people have really pushed the envelope.
I think because they've learned from Series 1 and how the judges react.
Well, it's like if you ever watch Series 1 of any long-running TV series, it always is finding their feet. I mean, Series 1 of Mock the Week is really rubbish. Series 1 of Have I Got News For You is atrocious. They've got different rounds that just like, what are you doing? Series 1 of Scrap Heap Challenge is a different formula to every subsequent series. And Series 1 of Robot Wars is like a proof of concept, but then they refine it. And I think that Series 2 of GMRC is very much out of that mould. That what they've done is they've learnt from Series 1, but the teams have as well. Everybody who came on knew that, we had to go above and beyond. And pretty much they did that. So let's see now. Let's have a look. Oh, there's the town scene. Everybody strike a pose.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim looks like he's really intensively trying to stare out that tripod, doesn't he? It's like, well, I'll break eye contact when you do. There we all are. That's actually quite a nice shot there. Yeah. Is that that's the shot they did for the promo shots? They did a promo shot of everybody straight at the end, so that they had something to put in magazines and that. But what that actually shows is just how amazing the room was that we were in. Incredibly hot though. My lasting memory of that room is like so hot that I think I turned the same shade of red at one point as my t-shirt. But I think that there certainly should be an audio interview here at some point. Where is the audio interview? Oh well, never mind. But certainly we've been doing the rounds of all the different media outlets. What surprises me is the Daily Star are wanting interviews for going in there. It's like, are they going to sandwich that in between London Bus Found on the Moon and Freddie Starr Ate My Hamster or something? I don't know. I must admit, it's actually in a completely different note, and this is not for anything to do with GMRC, but I think the Daily Star is the only newspaper that I've actively turned down interviews for. When they've like, oh, can we get an interview? All right, who are you doing it for? Daily Star. Ka-ching. Hello. Brian Moser. It's the second pick, Jenny. Second pick. What are we looking at?
Go up a bit.
The second picture, is it a clickable link? No. Yeah, Mark Crouch. I thought that actually the judges came across a lot better in this episode. They drew a lot of criticism from what I saw online. It's got to be remembered that there's an awful lot of keyboard warriors out there. It's something, you know, I've had this for a long time with my YouTube channel. You know, you just learn to deal with trolls and keyboard warriors and self-important people who exist under their parents' stares in their Y-fronts, passing critical comment on everything that any real person does. But I saw a lot of unfavourable comment about the judges for episode 1, and my thoughts are that actually in episode 2 they came across a lot better. But you have to remember a lot of it's down to editing. What a lot of people need to realise is that what you see on TV isn't necessarily exactly how it happened. And I'm left thinking actually a Bake Off with the baked Alaska in the bin was edited up to look one way, when actually what really happened was completely different according to the people who were there. So always bear that in mind before you criticise that, you know, you're not seeing the whole thing.
Because here's a little bit of behind the scenes TV. They actually dragged me out to film my winning of the Scratch Build Challenge before they'd announced who'd won the Scratch Build Challenge.
Oh, did they? I didn't
Yes.
know that. So
Yes.
so when they were all like, so was that even before they'd been put on the layout?
No, but
Because I remember you rushing in with these things, and we were playing.
yeah, I'd already filmed the interview.
So you already knew we.
Yes.
So right, but did anybody else?
Oh no, but not before I put them on the layout. But you know when I came in and I said I've won.
Yeah.
Les has just arrived.
Right, we're going to have to round up now. So, Zoe's going to hopefully
But yeah, they
answer
did
the door.
But they basically dragged me out kind of almost immediately and said, "You've won, can you do a piece to the camera?" And then,
right, so did anybody else see you from the other teams?
don't know.
Ah. Right, we've got a Les Cliff has been released from his jab light whittling dungeon. He's been asked to put the hot wire down, and we've opened the door, and he's resplendent, I believe, in a nice Rail Riders t-shirt. So hopefully he'll be coming up and poke his head through the door. But then we're going to have to round this off. So it's been great having you all here as company. Don't forget that you can catch up with the full video on YouTube. The reason, just to remind everybody that we're doing this early, is because we're going down now to Bolton Model Railway Club, which is a Bolton Trinity Street station, so dead easy to get to by train. It's between platforms 4 and 5. We're going along there and going to be having a chat this evening. So if you can come and join us, do come on down and join us. And that is hopefully going to be the venue that will be the long-term home for War of the Worlds layout once it's finished doing its tour of various things and publicity. But until next time, it's been really great having you on, and a big thank you to Melanie for being the special guest here.
Bye.
So fabulous builder of those tripods, and hopefully we'll be seeing a little bit more of you on the channel, and we will be at Alexandra Palace, and hopefully Melanie will be there as well. So if you want to come on down to that and see the layout in the flesh, believe me, it's one of those layouts that the more you scrutinise it, the more you see. I think I was definitely amazed at the end of it, just what we'd achieved. Also, don't forget that you can help support the channel by going on over to Patreon and also picking up the merchandise.
Buy her mugs.
Yeah,
Buy her mugs.
Buy the mugs, and you too can be one of the cool kids in the Jenny Monday Club with your own little mug. We're going to try and get a few more goodies of that. And also don't forget that you can pick up my books too. They're available in all good bookshops and some really terrible ones too. And if you're having trouble with them, head on over to the All Mouse Media website. Google through that if you're not familiar with where it is, and you can buy them direct from the publisher. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take really good care of yourself. It's been great having you along. Bye for now.